the power of this technology goes so far beyond what like the typical like table conversation about VR gives it credit for. You know, like we talk about it as like a useful tool or an immersive, fun experience, but what we're talking about is like truly transformational.
It should be perfectly possible to trick your brain into any experience if your brain can already do that itself naturally. So VR is almost like taking that ability for our brain to generate any experience for us and like putting it in our hands, which is wild.
Man, that's something in the history books. People are going to look back and be like, yeah, it's 2022, 2023. That's when education, after hundreds of years, finally upgraded.
We're in a strange time where our physical worlds are intersecting with our digital identities, and right now is a time to kind of determine what you want that to be.
Once you have full body tracking that works well and it's frictionless, right? Meaning it's easy to do.
Yes.
It's a whole new, it's not a game changer, it's a whole new game.
So maybe there will be some other people who would be curious to see what I'm learning, what I'm discovering, so to say. And that's how the Discover YouTube channel started.
Oh, not really disco VR, Discover.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel bad when people ask me about VR, or they're like, what do you do? Like, all right, you asked, here it comes.
I love VR, but I love going out and breathing fresh air. And not only was I stuck in VR for 10 days, I was stuck in one room because I was streaming, the same space. I didn't see the sunlight. I totally lost track of what time everything was.
She dances with the robot. She does the first steps. She dances with that robot. She takes that thing off her fist. I have the video. I'm holding it hostage. But she takes it off her head and she says, I gotta have it.
There are a few moments in my life I can remember very vividly. The day I got married, the day my kids were born, the day Facebook announced that they bought Oculus is one of those days. I was making chili.
I've been in a lot of gaming communities, and the VR community is by far the best community that I've ever been involved with.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Between Realities VR podcast. Yeah, baby.
Ooh, that was slick.
Thank you. Yeah. Feeling pretty good. Hey, everybody. How you doing? Thanks for joining us. It's May 19th, 2023. Living in the future right now. Things are pretty awesome. Welcome to the show. My name is Alex VR. I am one of the hosts of this magnificent production, and the other host of this magnificent production is sitting right next to me in the same room, by the way, in case y'all get it twisted out there from time to time. Skiva,
what's up, buddy? How are you today?
Good, man.
Nice.
Doing really good. It's been a pretty fun week, to be honest, but for life stuff. Like, I think I went to 3 concerts.
Wow.
Since the last show. And maybe I went to one of them before the last show, but I've been to 3 concerts in the past 2 months.
Dang,
or
dude.
2 weeks.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I saw the Black Dahlia Murder in Mesa, which is a badass death metal band. And then 2 nights ago, I saw this band called Twerp, or TWRP, and they're a modern band, but they're from the 80s and the future. And
cool.
Yeah, they like dress up in costumes, and like their bassist is just absolutely ridiculous, and they're like super theatrical and like did a bunch of jokes and stuff, and it was awesome. And then last night I actually got free box suite tickets to see The Cure.
The Cure?
Yeah.
They're still around?
Yes, they are.
Oh my God.
Yeah, their singer's like 63 or something like that.
Wow, did it come out with a walker? No. It's terrible. That's not even that far off from...
But, to be honest, we didn't stick around for the whole show for that one. It was in an arena, like a stadium, and I couldn't tell you if I've ever seen a band in a stadium before.
What?
I know. Like,
wow.
I know. I'm like an underground kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But it was pretty cool, you know. And for a free ticket, like you go.
Yeah.
Like if someone's like, "Hey, you want to see The Cure in a suite at an arena?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
So it's been
in a suite at that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Nice, comfortable chair, just chilling. So, and then I've been playing Zelda. To be honest, I haven't been in VR. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is out. It's really awesome. But I'll spare you the details on that one.
Yeah, and I bet you don't even have to guess what I've been playing. So
Ghosts of Tabor is my
about
guess.
it, man. Like a crack addict, going back to that game every second I can is a problem, and it is eating every minute of free time I have, which isn't even free time. Like there's stuff I could be doing, and I'm like I'm in raids instead. Like I could be sleeping at 2 a.m. No, I'm in a raid. You know.
So that's it. Like your past week is just like,
dude, it's been Ghosts of Tabor.
You fall asleep, you're dreaming about extractions.
I don't dream often, but I dreamt this week, and it was literally in raid, and I woke up thinking I just finished a raid. There's something wrong with me, I think.
Yeah.
Dude,
well, I'm happy for you, man. Because like, how often does a game come around that like really scratches the itch?
For real. Like there's a lot of games that I'm like, oh, this is super fun. I had a blast. But I don't obsess over it. I don't think about it every minute. You know what I mean? Like this is so next level.
Yeah,
for me,
it is. You know, we just did, what was it, 2 days ago? We did the Get 'em to the Metaverse podcast on the Getting Things Done YouTube channel with Jay Dunn and Joy Rain. And we had a really good time with them. It's a great episode. You should check it out in your free time.
We love Get 'em to the Metaverse. Love those guys there. Just amazing, beautiful energy.
The hypest intro ever.
Yeah.
Like, it really got, I was like, man, why don't we have an intro like that? Like, we should be... Yeah.
Sing a song.
Yeah. Well, but now and then it's like almost like stealing their thunder a little bit. It's like that's their stuff. It's like it's almost like I wish I had the idea, but I don't. So I'm just gonna have to succumb to it. But anyway, they were talking about an app that's like, what is it called? Like Mashup VR or something like that, which is like a bunch of party games and like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm interested in that. I think that'd be fun.
I'd play that.
I might do that for our next my next VR date night with. The Duncans.
That's cool. We need stuff like that. We need those casual games for people that don't want to shoot zombies and kill people and like just hang out, play games and talk, you know?
Amen.
So yeah.
Amen. That's what it's all about, dude.
Nice.
So let's start to get into things here. But before we do, we'll say hi to everyone who is joining us for the live show and chat. Thank you guys so much for being here. You know, I did see Sweaty Nug JJ in the chat like 3 days ago.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, I'm first and I'm ridiculously early. I'm like, yeah, that's true. But I can't give it to him officially because I don't see it in my daily.
Yeah, you gotta be here that day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Top chat and live chat. Make sure you got that distinction there.
I know. I don't know the difference. I think like when you're like popular and the chat goes by really fast, maybe it does something different. But for us, I'm pretty sure it's the same.
Oh, we're not popular? I thought we were popular.
I'll switch it to live chat just to feel good about myself here.
That's good. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, hey, everybody. How you doing? I actually have Classy Grandma as the first in my chat, which is great to see. So thank you.
What's up, Classy
Grandma? And then not long followed by Qcreator saying...
The Weekend.
That's it. He's the Weekend. We're the Weekend. Thanks for helping us ring it in, brother.
Heck yeah. Can't wait. He's definitely coming to the Game On Expo in Phoenix, Arizona to watch us work our nads off, I guess.
I can't wait.
And sweat in the heat. Like, I don't know any... Like, props to you, dude. Because anyone that comes to Phoenix in August is either crazy or just awesome because you're coming to see us. So
both, I think.
So heck yeah. Thank you.
You're crazy awesome, dude. And for the record, he does have a couch. I don't know if I should say this on the show.
Yeah, right.
He's got a couch. He's got a couch that could use an occupant or maybe even another bedroom.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you're like, man, I want to go to Phoenix in the blistering hot summer and go and be at this event of video game celebrations called Game On Expo, let us know and we can maybe put you in contact with him, and that could make it a little easier because he's also down to just like, if you want to stay there, you can. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you want to bust your butt and do some work for us, let us know.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah, we'd be happy to put anybody to work.
It's hard to put. I don't know. What do we do? 1,400 VR demos last year.
Give or take.
All kinds of headsets from the Quest 2 to the Pimax 8KX to the PSVR, and this year we have even more. We're going to be featuring again the Quest 2, but also the PSVR 2. We'll have many PSVR 2 booths. We're going to have more PCVR stuff, Pimax crystals, I think HTC Vive XR Elites,
B-Haptics Fests.
Yeah, all this stuff. It's going to be amazing, and just for the general public that don't know about any of this stuff, they're not in this bubble, right? So they'll get to come in and try everything.
We had some seriously heartwarming moments and some hilarious moments, and it's really cool when you get people involved in VR who are not used to it.
Yeah.
So thanks guys for being here. We've got little virtual Steve. Hey y'all, what's up, baby?
Hey, what's up, virtual Steve?
We got VR with Jasmine shouting it from the rooftops.
What's up?
Snow Toad, evening.
Snow Toad, what's up, dude?
That's right.
How are you?
Oh, a little Wolveraza in the house as well. Great to see you. Red/Ace.
Hey,
what's
dude.
up, Pete's?
How's it going?
Good to see you, baby. Space Denizen, what up? That's right.
Hey,
dude.
what's up, Void Citizen?
I know. He's
Denizen, Void Citizen.
Yeah, and make sure that you're there, Void, for our next fly-through video, because he is one of those avatars sitting in the audience waving when we start that intro scene.
Yeah, we're going to refilm it at some point. So if you would like to hop in a Neos and be in the crowd when we do that new intro, hit me up, because we'd love to have you in there waving.
Please do that. Please do that. Yeah, because that needs to be hype.
We wanted to do it before this season, but life. Life.
Dude, this guy, Skiva's busy, man, between Impact Reality and Ghosts of Tabor. Good luck.
I know.
Game on Scorpio, evening, y'all. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up?
Good to see you, dude. And a little Funky Sloth, too.
Funky Sloth, love that name.
Oh, dude, is that a $10 super chat from Classy Grandma? It is. She says, hey, Alex and Skiva, we love you guys.
Classy.
Thanks, Classy
You're
G.
so classy.
Classy G in the house. Q2C VR Gamer can't stay, but wanted to stop in and say, hey.
What's up?
Have a good show.
Eric?
It must be, right?
Yeah, you think so. But if it's Todd, we love you too.
Does he give Todd the keys?
Probably not. Would you?
Sorry, Todd. I know Todd's just like a punching bag sometimes.
Oh, and he's such a good dude.
He's a sweetheart.
He's so rad.
Paradise Decay's in the house. What's up, baby?
P. Diddy in the house.
That's right.
Love me some Paradise Decay.
Me too, man. I really hope we get the chance to hang out in the future.
Dude, I know. I am gonna. If we don't, I'm gonna fly to the UK with the main intent of hanging out with PD.
There it is. And I'm squeezing in the suitcase.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hussein X is here. That's right.
Hey, what's up, Hussein? How's
Andy, Southern Obscure Nerd.
Dude,
VR.
what's up, buddy? How are you, Andy?
Ryan B says, hey, y'all. Looking forward to the show.
What's up, Ryan?
Thanks for being here, Ryan.
What's up?
Little coffee for me. Thank you. A little Duggar's K for everyone else. Robert Smith and Friends is what he says. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Is that one of the... Is that like from The Cure or something?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know who Robert Smith is, bro. But thanks anyway for being here and watching us for the live show that we are about to dive into with an exciting guest. Gamertag VR has stopped in the presence of greatness.
What is up? The co-host and main dude of the other podcast that we do, the VR Crewcast, which is a phenomenal podcast with 7 of your favorite creators, all talking about what you love most.
Your
VR.
7 favorite creators.
Oh, yes.
It's your 7
Your
favorite.
7 favorite. I say.
7 of.
Oh.
No. The top 7.
The top 7.
The top 7.
Those are the ones.
Yes.
Yep.
And sitting right at the top of that is sadly it's Bradley. Tune into that show for some insights from him, because he will drop facts on us.
Yep.
Laszlo 216 Cleveland, represent, baby.
What's up?
That's right. ePilot 007 says, hey guys, Skiva's got a 007 on his name too.
I do. I like that.
Yeah, that's he's aging. You're aging yourself there, ePilot. Because
they haven't made any.
Only Gen X kept the numbers. You got Mateo 311.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to use a number or you don't get to use your name. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna pick a cool number, right?
It's
like 420, 69, or 007.
Or,
what else?
Or 311.
311. Okay, no, that's aging you too.
Well, what's up, Mateo 311?
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
I didn't even put that together. I wonder if he likes 311.
I'm sure he did back in 1990. He made his username. Oh god! I just put underscores everywhere in mine.
Yes.
I'm like Alex _____ VR. There we go. Yeah. There we
Love
go.
it. I love it.
Amelia Faust is in the house. How's it going?
What's up?
Good to see you. Yes. And I think we're getting pretty close here now to diving in. And
I see some Creeper Betty in there.
Betty.
What's up, Creeper Betty? How
What's
are you?
up, girl? How you
Heck
doing? I just added her on Facebook the other day.
Creeper Betty, one of my regular squad mates in Ghost of Tabor, just as hooked as me. It's usually me, Betty, and Eric from Q2C.
That's a squad right there.
Yep, it is.
That's a squad. Yeah, ePilot said he's a 70s kid.
Oh, nice.
Sounds about
Nice.
right. I'm like Sherlock Holmes, man. You just like give me a name and I'll dial in on you. Dan Kitty VR, hello. Thanks for joining us as well.
What's up, Dan?
You know who else has joined us today? A magnificent guest.
What?
I don't know if you guys know this.
We have a guest?
We do guests.
No kidding.
Well, we have guests on the show is more accurate.
Love it.
Yes, and today should be an exciting one. You know, every now and then when we have the opportunity on the Between Realities VR podcast, we like to dive down the rabbit hole a little bit. You know, we like to have a little philosophical discussion from time to time. And I think today might be one of those times.
I think so.
You know, there is this company out there floating around in the VR space right now called BasedXR. And BasedXR is doing some stuff that is dancing around that philosophical discussion, you know, like what's real, what's not. Can VR impact how you perceive reality as a whole, you know, and in what ways is that happening? And we have today on the show the founder of BasedXR. So let's just get this thing popping off right now. Please, everybody, welcome to Between Realities, Tino Truong. What's up, dude?
Hey.
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Hey, Tino. How's it going, buddy? Good to see you.
So wonderful.
Awesome. Good to see your actual human avatar as opposed to your Neos avatar.
We've only met in Neos, and I'm thrilled to have a face-to-face with you two.
Yeah, awesome, man. Very cool.
It's going to be great. So how did that happen? Because you know, when Skiva booked you as a guest for our show, I was like, Tino, who? What's going on? And then I go over to BasedXR, and I'm like, okay. I see now why Skiva made this happen.
So I think Tribe Grey Wolf somehow met Tino through TikTok or something.
Yeah, TikTok.
Yeah, and was like, dude, Neos, check this out. Got him in there, and then we hopped in. I think I don't know if I helped you with your initial kind of tour in there with Tribe, or if he brought you in first. I can't remember, but that's how that happened. Then we met, and then you know, we just had fun in Neos, and then later on. You know, I think we're talking about what we do for a living, and I was just like, what? This is awesome.
Nice.
Oh man, we got to talk. Let's talk about this on Between Realities, because this is exactly the type of thing we love to talk about.
I love it. So do you have a TikTok, Tino, or were you just on Tribes? How did it happen?
So I have a TikTok. It's BasedXR is the handle, and so I had scrolled through, and I all of a sudden see him playing a game, and I don't recall which one it is. It was one of the shooters that he had on, and I really was impressed by his setup. Like you could see that he is dedicated to his craft. It looks super clean, and we started chatting in the box as he was playing. And so we connected, and he's like, hey, if you're really enjoying VR, I'd love to give you a demo of Neos. And at that point, this was around September of last year or so, and I told him, I've never heard of Neos before. And I had no idea what to expect, and he's like, yeah, let me put you down for about an hour. I was thought, what kind of demo needs an hour to go
He told you an hour? Because I'm always like, look, this is going to sound intimidating, but you should really block off at least 3 hours. And people are like, you're insane. And then all of a sudden 3 hours goes by, and they're like, what? How did that even happen?
Oh, dude.
You know? Wow, he told you an hour. Well, that's cool.
Right
on.
And so we get in on that Friday. I'm thinking, okay, cool. He's getting me through this setup. And I get things in there. And the moment that I was really shocked by was as he was setting up the avatar, we're standing right next to each other, and he has this window up. And so he grabs my window, and I look over, I'm thinking, what? How could you see my interface, right? And that what I thought would have been an hour turned out to be 3.5 hours later.
There it is.
Fun. He was pointing out all sorts of things, so 3 hours was pretty spot on.
There it is. Yeah, it is amazing. Like for me, it was like the moment when I realized that you can like displace each other. Like you can interact with each other in a crazy way that you're not usually able to see. Like shrink someone down and put them on your shoulder and they're riding around with you, or hit somebody with a baseball bat and they go flying, or flip somebody with a spatula and they do a freaking flip. Like it is that stuff blew me away about Neos.
Yeah, to me, it's like let me show you the universe in an hour. Can't do that. Can't even do it in 3 hours, but you can start to make a little bit of a dent and like really start to like give people the feels just for what's possible. There's just so much you can do. And like of all different facets, if you're a gamer, if you're an educator, if you're a social person, like there's just so much you can do. If you love to build, or you're a programmer, like whatever, there is so much that Neos has to offer. And some people, they see it and they get it. And those are usually my people. You know what I mean? The ones that are like, this is cool, and they never come back. I'm like, something's wrong with that person. Something's wrong with them.
Right?
That's great. Roy Boy sliding in with us, dude. Good to see you.
Hey, what's up, Roy Boy?
And Snow Toad just gifted a Between Realities membership.
Hey, thanks, Snow Toad. Hey,
that's right.
Thank you.
Shagsy
so much.
being the lucky recipient of that.
Nice.
Congratulations, Shagsy, and welcome to the Between Realities family.
Yes. Welcome.
So I'm really excited to learn more about Tino, about you, sir, and I'm really excited to learn more about BasedXR and kind of like you guys' approach and how all of this has come together. But before we dive into that conversation, I know that there's a couple of things that we can just like briefly bring up and kind of mention, because there's a couple of semi-interesting news stories, and we're not typically like a news podcast here, but Skiva did identify that there's a few things that were kind of important that went down. So maybe we can discuss.
I want to really quick just give a quick shout out, because if there are few people that have like really impacted the success of VR as a whole, and I feel like the people who created Beat Saber are really have brought in more people than maybe any other game, any other software, even any headset into VR. And one of the co-founders is stepping down. I can never say his name right.
Yaroslav Beck. Yes, he is the co-founder of Beat Saber, and he was the CEO for a while, and then he moved into the like main music dude position, probably like helping strike deals with the stuff that they like their song packs and things like that. And he's also a musician himself, and many of his songs exist in Beat Saber. But yeah, he is stepping down from his current position at Beat Games and preparing for what's next. We don't know what that is.
We don't. What could be better than that? Like, where could he be going to rival Beat Saber? But it's exciting to see, right? Like, what is happening here? But I did want to just take a minute to like, just be like, dude, thank you for all that you do, and thank you for all the people you brought in and the amazing stuff you've brought to VR as a whole. Like Beat Saber or not, it is responsible for so many people getting into virtual reality. So
for real,
just wanted to give that quick shout out.
You a Beat Saber player?
Yeah, so I first time I ever saw it was I think around 2017 or 18 at Augmented World Expo, and I don't think the game had that much recognition at the point. And I would walk by this booth and you'd see this huge green screen setup, and you'd see all these people watching the video of what was actually happening. Right. And then when you connect the dots, it's like they were showcasing Beat Saber in a way that so many individual creators today build their own brands by showing like, hey, I'm interacting with this game. You can see what's happening in real time in VR in a fascinating way. So Beat Saber definitely has a special spot for me. It's one of those experiences that I showcase for people if they ever want to try out VR for the first time. It's like, here, sabers and music, enjoy it.
It's a slam dunk. It's so easy. And I've said all the reasons why I think it's perfect for a first timer many times on this show, so I'll spare it this time. But shout out, and it looks like Jasmine's kind of got the inside scoop. She said that he posted about it on LinkedIn, he's starting a philanthropic pursuit of bringing music education to underprivileged kids.
Wow. So damn. Jeez.
What do you do? What do you do after you put 15 mil in your bank account?
I guess, right? You give back and you do wonderful things for kids, and I think that's amazing. And like, how can you not love this guy?
He's awesome.
Jeez.
Yeah, I've never had a chance to meet him. I hope I can one day, but I have not met him in person. That would be cool. That would be like someone take my picture right now, you know?
Like, you have met some of the founders.
Yeah.
Or at least one of the founders of Beat Saber.
Yeah, I've met a couple of the people from Beat Games and Alex VR on YouTube. Go see my interview of my early days as a VR content creator. Brandon VR is here, by the way. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Brandon?
Good to see you, Brandon. And also, someone else just snuck in too. Who was that? Arcanian. What's up?
Oh, Arcanian. How's it going, buddy?
Good to see you.
Nice.
Okay, so what else is in the news right now?
The other thing I wanted to mention too, which is pretty wild, is that here, let me bring this up for people. Is that all of the apps now in the Quest Store are starting to list Quest 3 as a device that's supported, which is fun. We all know Quest 3 is coming, but we didn't really have any idea of would it be during this metagaming showcase they're going to talk about it? Will it be a Connect? But this is good to see that they are putting it out there that this is coming really soon, or why would they be listing this right now as supported apps, right? So it's great to see the evolution of VR, new headsets coming, and to get that solid validation from the company putting it out.
Right.
Hey, look at that. Quest 3 is supported.
Does this imply that these developers have one?
I mean, it would be very weird if they weren't developing for this right now.
Right. And like, how can you confirm it supports the hardware without having already worked on it?
Right. And it's not ported and confirmed to be coming, to the Quest 3 officially. So, dev kits are probably out there,
Yeah, all we need now is a hotel employee to swing through and scoop one up, take some photos, and post it on the internet.
That's right.
Come on, baby.
That's funny. Oh, man, I forgot about that whole Quest Pro unveiling at the hotel.
These low quality, terrible photos.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man.
Any Quest 3 hype over there, Tino?
I've been excited to see the different quests that have come out, and my hunch is, especially seeing the Pro, they now have that color pass through, right?
Yeah.
And for years, I felt that once the VR and AR merged at that point, the main improvements will be a slimmed down form factor. Because what really drew me into the industry was actually the Microsoft HoloLens, the first and the second one.
Oh, interesting.
And giving demos for that, and then watching people, especially the first time they interact with the hologram. I was watching one of my friends and I asked him, so why are you smiling? Why is your smile so huge? And he's like, I don't know. As he's interacting with these things, it's because you're seeing this part of the future that I think is so beautiful for the individuals who are in XR, of seeing this come to life. And so I think that with the Pro coming out, it gave strong indication on the acceleration of how they're creating the hardware, and then these slim down devices that can create amazing experiences.
Wow. Yeah. When was this HoloLens experience?
2016.
Okay.
Wow.
Nice. The second was 2018 or so, right when they came out with the second one. I was able to try one on, and then I ended up investing in my own. And I still think of it as an incredible piece of hardware that showcases truly what this industry and medium can do for people.
I love the HoloLens. I mean, the HoloLens 2 especially. And then there have been many devices later on that have come out with that kind of clear, glass with the hologram thing, right? Because there's that type of AR, and then there's mixed reality color pass through involving cameras that bring through, and then you can mix reality on top of that. And right now, for me, that's the most compelling because it kind of mostly because of field of view, right? My biggest problem with the original HoloLens was you saw the hologram on these little squares, right in front of you, and it was. You could see potential. You saw where this was going, and you could imagine that once that problem was resolved and it kind of wrapped around, and you were seeing these objects in your actual reality, that was going to be a wonderful thing. And then, the Magic Leap came out, and then the Magic Leap 2. And right now, the Magic Leap 2 is probably my favorite of those devices. But wow, man, the future I saw as well, putting on the HoloLens, huge deal,
Have you used the Magic Leap 2?
Not the Magic Leap 2. I had tested out the first one very, very briefly, and so I wouldn't be able to speak on that one. And this is where the most advanced one that I would have tried out would have been the HoloLens 2. And when I look at it, you are engaging with the holograms with your fingers, hands, great. Like, what else are you jumping to that next level, right? I anticipate that you could do, and even that one, you had the eye tracking, right? And it's like, if they take that leap of, I'm thinking about a dog with 4 spots and a squiggly line, whatever it is, and that manifests itself as a 3D object, then that's that next huge leap.
Yeah. Oh, and I can't wait to get into that.
Are you going to be at this year's AWE?
No, I'm not.
All right, well, that makes me sad.
Dang, I know, right?
It's like, oh, you went to AWE, that means it's going to be there this year. It's going to be awesome. We're going to hang out. And he's going to try the Magic Leap too. And I guess not.
Like one of the cool things with the Magic Leap 2 that I really thought was amazing was no one, and with that form factor, no one's been able to nail blacks with that type of augmented reality with the clear glass pass through, right? You can only really hit a black when you're doing the mixed reality through cameras, right? But the Magic Leap 2 figured out how to dim the screen in certain parts and black things out, so it almost can turn into VR, but they can also dim local little sections to be able to give that that feeling of having black enable, in the holograms. And it really blew me away, because that was always the thing, right? Black is present in so many things, and to have a lack of that was always kind of weird. But we're making advancements all the time in AR, and it's really awesome. And now bigger companies are starting to get into it, and it's all very, very exciting.
Definitely.
Yeah, it is. Michelle B sliding in here.
What's up, Michelle?
And a little Rudel Zavedno.
Hey.
What's up, Rudel?
What's up?
So this happens in 2016. You tried the HoloLens and kind of like had your mind blown by that experience. What were you doing before that happened, right? Like, were you in like a different career that then you like pivoted and shifted?
Yeah, so I've been in pretty much learning and development for a good decade plus or so, and when it came to any type of training, it was either the creative arts or some technology, and so I was shifting over into more of a technical field, and I saw there was this incredible intersection between technology and creative that intersected at mixed reality, at augmented reality, at virtual reality. And as I experienced that HoloLens, the HoloLens experiences, I thought, however you build it, I need to go figure that out, right? And that's where it started my journey into Unity and Unreal Engine, where I thought, okay, there are tutorials for this. Here's how you can build these things, and it's been incredible to see how that experience has translated well to deploying single experiences to hardware. Versus now, where a lot of these experiences, you could deploy it to a tablet or a mobile device considerably quicker than 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny to see, if you really go back and look at how long mixed reality experiences have been around with things like the Apple iPad and iPhone and with ARKit and then AR Core on the Android side. And you really think about it, no one wants to do AR through these devices, but it is a portal to be able to do so. But what it was really built for, in my opinion, was to start to bring this up, get developers thinking about the things they can make in here, get them used to doing AR experiences, and then when the headsets come, right now, all of a sudden we already have the spatial computing technology. We've stabilized the images to stay in place and really started to make some compelling experiences. But now they're in classes, now they're in goggles, now they're in VR, now they're in mixed reality. So we have seen all these companies doing this forever. I feel like it's been at least a decade, right? They're like up on stage on Apple things, and they're showing, with an iPad walking around a table, there's nothing there, but in the iPad you see it. But now we have Apple about to announce this mixed reality headset, and we're going to start to see the fruits of all of that time where they've been developing ARKit and AR Core, and really this is why. Right. This is why. So this is really good stuff. And again, I always talk about how I'm just excited to be a part of this part of history where all of this stuff is happening, You know, we had the internet, we have, now we have AR and VR and artificial intelligence, and all this is happening in our lifetime, and it's almost overwhelming. And it's just so exciting.
It is amazing. And like, as you're talking about like the current uses of AR, or like the precursor uses of AR, I would say that arguably like the number one use case of AR so far has been filters, like Snapchat filters. For sure. And like that has me thinking like, is that going to translate into head mounted displays where like all of a sudden like that's like the primary use where like everyone just like turns on a filter for everyone that they see, and like as you're looking around, everyone looks like they're bawling their eyes out. Is that like...
That would be interesting. I mean, maybe you could have like required filters, like only ever show me with this makeup filter on, or whatever you want, or whatever avatar you want to be seen as, right? Like replace my head with this.
Oh, that's interesting. So you could choose the settings that people see through their AR.
Yeah, right. Because once everything's connected on a global network, with Starlink or something similar, where everyone's connected all the time, all of these headsets are constantly communicating. You can click on someone, see their name, their job position, whatever it is that they want to share. Like you go to a networking event, you don't have to wear those stupid stickers that say, "Hello, my name is," because it'll just show, bing,
just like in an MMORPG.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're in for an interesting future. Facial recognition has come leaps and bounds. This is all, we're in for a really awesome future. I can't wait. I want to see it all right now.
Hey, Guido, good to see you, dude.
What's up, Guido?
Tino, what in your opinion is going to be like one of like the main primary use cases when AR on head-mounted displays really takes off? Like what's going to grab people?
So one thing I want to add to filters was actually maps, right?
Yes,
Think
totally.
about, especially with your phone, flip the phone or turn off the volume and put it away and see how quickly all of a sudden that AR that's with you on a consistent basis, oh, wait, I can't see it, I can't access it. It's supposedly getting me to places, right? And what's exciting, I think, is that if they become something that's head-mounted that people want to have, it might give them either instructions or examples on how to do something. Because being in the L&D field, like there are times where people might go onto a work site or they might go and interact with something and they have no clue on what's going on. And if only they had that little voice that was in the back of their mind that says, oh, hey, you can open the door here and here's this, versus having the so terrifying feeling of, I need to speak to someone. I need to speak to someone about this, right? And I think that engagement has been amplified with how people are using and engaging with AI. The merger of those two, this is something that I think will be incredibly exciting as long as people recognize that it is a tool versus something to be afraid of, right? Of like, it can give you instructions, it can give you an example or a demo of what you're expecting to see, what to look for, and then, continue on your day and experience something new.
Right. Yeah. What would be a reason that someone might be afraid of it, right? Because like obviously, like we like to focus on the positives as much as possible. We see where this is all going, right? But when someone would potentially show some apprehension, like what do you think it is that they're worried about?
So it seems like one of the things that people might be concerned about is how AI, in quotes, is predicting their own behavior. Particularly if they might say, "Oh, I thought of something or said something and somehow I'm getting ads or whatever for this," right? And I think that when you start recognizing to see how often recommendation engines may be in your everyday life, for example, Netflix, for example, your search engine, and knowing that it's like, hey, this is part of that journey, you're letting it know of what you either, let's say films or restaurants or whatever, like you're letting it know your preferences. If you regain control over your own data, over your own information, right, you can choose to release it whenever you want to. And so I think that it's a very beautiful future. People can have a slight bit of data literacy or AI literacy, and they realize that it's an additional tool that can enhance or complement their life.
Amen.
It is, the future of AI is so wild, and it's such an extreme thing, and it's such a fast growing thing. We've never seen technology grow so fast and make such incredible leaps and bounds in such extremely short periods of time. It's really wild. Like just stupid story, right? Like every night I read my kid a bedtime story or two, right? And you can only, when you do it that often, you run out of stories pretty fast. You know, you're like scouring the internet. You're like, oh my God, what do I read? Now I can be like, write me a story, you know, with my kid as the main star, as me, as blah, 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 in a fantasy world with, you know, fairies and unicorns and whatever, right? And then boom, every day I have multiple brand new stories that are featuring anything my kid wants at any given time, all brand new, as many times a night as I want to read a story or whatever. It's like, it's really wild how this stuff is already like.
So you're actually doing that now?
Yes.
And are these stories just like, are they like bangers? Like,
they're really good. They're really, really, really good. Yeah. They like, it is scary how much they're able to like mimic a lot of different writing styles, talk about human emotion, have like, you know, these little learning lessons embedded in them. Like, it's very bizarre, but it's also really cool. This stuff is all happening right now. You know, me and my kid have like little AI art nights where we mess around with like Midjourney, and she creates these amazing pictures. And like, I can't imagine.
Wow,
at 9 years old, dude. At 9 years old, what was I doing? Did I have Atari? I can't remember. Was that Atari days for me? I don't even know. But I was like, yeah, right.
Not me, but for you, yeah.
But like, I can't imagine being able to tell a computer what I want and just have it generate things on the fly, different every single time. And this is just right now. 10 years from now, this I really believe with the progression, if we were to hold up this level of progression through 10 years, this world will be unrecognizable in a decade. If it slows down, maybe it'll, you know, it won't be so much. But oh my God, I can't even imagine. The world is going to be a really, really wild place.
Dude, honestly, like, I was just talking about this with my wife earlier today, or maybe last night, but like I honestly, like, the lifespan of low quality AI writing, in my opinion, was too short. Like, I don't know if you've ever read any like of those like AI generated scripts from like 5 or 6, you know, maybe 7 years ago. Like, there's an Olive Garden commercial that an AI wrote one time, and they are hilarious. They are hilarious. Like, the way that the AI was forming the sentences and like using things and playing off of itself was like missing the mark a lot, but still in this like weird uncanny valley kind of like mode. And that stuff was so funny, dude. I remember reading scripts that AIs were writing and cracking up because they were so funny. And not anymore, dude. Nope. Now they're actually
legit.
Good.
They are legit, and they're getting better every day.
Totally. And like, you know, I did the meta movie, right? The in Neos that's put on, a meta movie puts on this show called Alien Rescue, and in there you're walking around communicating and interacting with real life actors who are playing characters and like helping you along on your journey. And I remember thinking to myself how unique of an experience this was, because it wasn't going to be long before you don't actually need real life actors to like have a parlay in an adventure, an experience. And I honestly was not expecting it to already kind of be getting to that point, but it literally is. Like, there's a ChatGPT plugin for Skyrim right now. And you can, I mean, obviously there's some latency and some delays and stuff, but you can walk up to characters in Skyrim and say something out loud. ChatGPT takes it, translates it into text, gives you a response, and then spits it out using a voice generator. Like, you can actually have a conversation with an AI in games using plugins like that today. So, like,
so
we're getting there.
Now, we are, and it's, you know, so many guests have come on here, and so many of them have said the same thing. Like, VR and AR have like sparked this thing in them because they have always been enthralled by the idea of the holodeck from Star Trek, right? Soon we will, and it'll be, I believe, really soon, like years, maybe a couple of years, where we'll be able to speak worlds into existence, put a headset on and be like, I want to be on a beach with blah blah blah, and I want to see, you know, UFO and blah blah, and then poof poof poof, and the scenes will change around you, different circumstances and things. Like, I think we are getting there a lot faster than than we all anticipated.
Tino, what are you thinking about right now?
So that I think is really exciting, because I anticipate that you can get give ChatGPT a prompt and then send that over to Midjourney to pretty much create a 2D visual at this point, right? And it'll probably hop and skip until it's great. Here's this 3D environment. In that, in my opinion, and accelerating reality, I think there's going to be a crossroads that humanity gets to where they will recognize that their ingenuity cannot be replaced by AI.
Mm-hmm. And, not yet, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's where, because you mentioned reading to your daughter, there's a part of me that sometimes wonder, it's like, with either exposure to different types of AI, does that limit one's imagination?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. Or does it enhance it? I remember growing up with Atari games and seeing, and seeing the little dots on the screen and really having to use my imagination to build out what these things actually might look like. And it really did bring you, make you really use your mind and your imagination. But now we have these insane consoles that are able to really show you lifelike environments and but does that hinder your imagination? I don't know. There's still people out there that have to create these right now. Or maybe does both. It shift your imagination because people have to create the AI until maybe someday, and I don't think this will be long either, where the AI is advancing itself, it's improving itself and making itself better, finding where its shortcomings are and implementing new code into itself. So this is all really interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah. And honestly, it could be a copy. It could be both simultaneously. Yeah. Like there is duality in all things. So as a new technology presents itself, there's going to be ways to benefit from it, and there's also surely ways that it's going to hinder or hurt us. Like maybe a few hundred years ago, if you were a music lover, you go to like your neighborhood tavern and like you catch the one musician in your neighborhood that like knows how to play an instrument, and you like listen to him and he plays the same songs that he played last week. But now in the future, there's bands like literally just being born and like with recording studios in their basements, and they're cranking songs out like crazy. There's an infinite amount of music to listen to.
Yeah,
infinite. Yep. And is that a good thing? Most would argue yes, but I could also probably dig around in here and find ways that maybe this guy's experience in this village hundreds of years ago could have been better, or could have had reasons to exist. You see where I'm going with this?
I do. Mm-hmm. So to give you an idea on how fast this is moving, I believe if it was yesterday or the day before, I think that Google announced a new AI thing called Gemini. Bard came out a little bit ago. Maybe they made it public a week or two ago or something like that. Now there's Gemini, and Gemini takes all of these different AI things, like a Midjourney, which does images, like a ChatGPT that does text, the ones that generate video, and all of these things, and it takes all of their networks and it creates connectors between them. So now you can do all of the things with one command, or you can tell it, hey, look at this video and summarize this movie for me, or tell me that, how these two characters interact and what is their relationship really about. Find the hidden meaning in this short film. Like it's connecting all of these AI networks together into one giant artificial intelligent network that is absolutely freaking mind-blowing. And this just had Bard just came out like a couple weeks ago, and now Gemini has been announced, and it's like it's so fast, and the progression here is absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
So I really can't wait until we have more integration into virtual reality, because I think VR and AR and artificial intelligence are going to go together like milk and chocolate. It's just going to be an amazing time to be able to live the exact reality that you can dream up or that you want to in that very minute. Do you think that, when do you think it'll be a time where maybe game studios start to go out of business because someone will just be able to say, create me a first-person shooter where all the enemies are Chuck Norris and you want to
lose that badly? You want a game that's literally unbeatable?
I'm just saying, right? Like, will that be a thing? Like, where does this end? Yeah. Where does this end? Like, will my kid, like, when she is my age, how close will the life we live right now be to what she will live?
What do you think, Tino?
I actually think that it will be rather similar to this day and age, whether 10, 15, 20 plus years. Because so far that I've been listening, you said the word twice about dreams, right? You mentioned it earlier and you just mentioned it now. That part of humans is the irreplaceable part. Because people might say, I'm bringing these dreams into reality. As people reflect upon, listen, and discuss their dreams, there are things that people can dream up that they can tell AI until they're blue in the face. And if it hasn't seen a version of that, it has no idea what to create. And the human dreaming is one that I think is incredibly powerful. And that's what campfire stories are. That's what either films or whatever can be created. And as long as humans have that authentic intelligence, which is also AI, I think that's what will set humans apart in a very beautiful way.
Dude, I love dreams. It is like one of my favorite topics of discussion, and it is something that, in my opinion, is like overlooked and swept under the rug in a way that's like almost tragic. Like, if you think about it, as humans, we spend, I don't know, what is it, like 30% of our lives asleep. I'm just throwing out a random number, like, but a significant
amount of time,
a significant portion of our lives is spent asleep and dreaming. Regardless of whether or not you wake up and remember them, you're doing stuff when you're like going to a new plane of existence and experiencing things, and it's actually like something that is like teachable. Like you can learn how to dream. You can learn about lucid dreaming. You can get better at dreaming. You can take it more seriously and open yourself up to a whole world of experiences that feel a lot more real than just slapping on a VR headset right now. You know, like you can have like physiological sensations in dreams. Do you want to elaborate on this at all, Tino?
Of course. And so this is something that I've started to share with people a little more often over the past year or so, is that this right here is the illusion. The dream, the experience that you have, that is actual reality. And so as you open up and have conversations with people, you start recognizing that there's individuals who have a dream life and a physical waking life. And some are lucky where they're like, cool, I'm an Australian man doing this. And then in another one, they're an Italian woman doing these two things where they can tell the difference between their waking life and their sleep life or their dream life. Others might have the same overlap. Because Kiva, you mentioned earlier, you're like, wait, I was in a raid. Was it real or dreaming, right? And so for me personally, there have been a handful of nights where I'm planning something for VR or building something, and I couldn't figure out the answer during the day. I set the intention, let's go do a little bit of research at night. I wake up, there's that solution, and it's like amazing. And what I notice is that the time, in quotes, that I spent in there was significantly longer than 7 or 8 hours. It might have been several days past. Let me iterate and try these things. When I woke up, I'm like, got it. Here's the solution of what I need to do next.
Mm-hmm. So you said a couple things there that really piqued my interest and curiosity. Especially saying that, like the dream state is reality and this waking life experience is the illusion. I can see like how potentially you've come to that conclusion. But it's interesting because I don't know if you know anything about like Platonic, like Socrates and Plato philosophy. But on their divided line of like what's real and what's not real, they do all of their philosophy. One of the reasons why I love ancient Greek philosophy is that it was this attempt at like figuring out what's real and what's not real before a scientific approach. So it's like really just like deep thought, like thinking so hard about reality and trying to form conclusions off of literally just thinking. And in their philosophy, there's like this like almost like there's an assumption in their philosophy that things that last longer are more real than others. You know, like that's like they like split it up into 4 levels of reality, and they call it the divided line. And things that last longer are more real. So on their divided line of 4 different layers or 4 different levels of reality, this one that we're experiencing is the second level. So assuming they're basically saying that there's 2 levels above this that are more real than what we're currently experiencing. And underneath us on the first level of reality, and according to Socrates and Plato, is dreams and hallucinations. And one of the reasons why they say it is indeed real is because we can all confirm that we do have these experiences. It does happen. But it's less real than this. And why is that? It's because this, it lasts longer. It's something that we continue to come back to. And it's also a shared experience that has like rules that everything kind of adheres to. Whereas in dreams, those rules can be broken. But the interesting thing about level 1 and level 2 is that level 1, where the dreams and hallucinations exist, is like reflective of the second higher level of reality. So like I can dream of a pink elephant, but that is, and it's breaking the rules of this more real level of reality, but it is reflecting off of things that exist here. So pink is something that exists here. Elephants is something that exists here. And when I dream, I often have like a human experience, you know, like I'm like thinking about human stuff. I'm like with people, I'm you know, hiking a mountain, I'm in a school, and it's all kind of reflective off of this experience that I'm having. So keeping that in mind, what makes dreams and the dreaming experience like the reality and this the illusion?
A wonderful question. And I can tell you, I know with absolute certainty that you are significantly more powerful in your dream state than your physical state, right? And this is something where people might pause and reflect, because the statement that I'm also making is that this right here is part of the prison, right? This body is part of that prison, because you think about the mountain climbing, the walking, the flying, who knows, whichever version of that reality that you might be experiencing. And for the people who might be starting such a dream journey, when you go to sleep, set the intention of some incredible destination that you want to visit, or set the intention that you're going to visit something incredible. How certain are you in all your dreams that you are you, right? This is something to really consider, because many people then start to realize that they are not the Skiva that I see, the Alex that I see at all. And if anything, go walk by a store that has like a broken glass or mirror or some lake and glance at the reflection, because you may or may not like the person that you're seeing. At least you know to look over and say, all right, cool. Why is this a version of Skiva that all of a sudden my hands are wrinkly as if I'm 40, 50 years older than what I thought I was?
That's interesting. Is that an experience that you've personally had? Have you looked at your reflection in a dream?
Yep, I've and there are multiple times where I will look at myself, and the second I grasp who it is, the dream ends.
Yeah.
Of like, it's as if I'm not supposed to see that person. And then there's other situations where I will be in a dream and I'm attempting to get someone's attention, right? It's as if I'm muted, I'm waving at you all, and no one hears me. And then every now and then someone turns over, looks at me, and tells me, "Don't let us know that you're here." And I was like, okay, cool. That gets to be really interesting when the individuals recognize that I'm not from that location or that environment.
Well, and that also happens not just in dreams, but sometimes in really heavy, high-dose hallucinogenic experiences like dimethyltryptamine and things where people go into these hallucinogenic states and they go somewhere else, the same place that everyone else seems to agree that everyone ends up going when taking DMT to a certain degree, and they see these beings and they all talk to the same types of things, and sometimes those beings will look at them and go, "Oh wait, you're not supposed to be here right now. What are you doing?" Right? Like, so this is kind of the same thing, because you know, I feel like hallucinogenics and dreams are very, very similar. And when you dream, it's usually due to your body dosing you with dimethyltryptamine. Like DMT is produced in the brain and then released when you sleep. The highest doses are when you're born and when you die. But when you're dreaming, I think we are starting to find through different studies that it's DMT that's being, that's the time that DMT is being released in higher doses in your brain. So that's really interesting. That's really interesting.
And because Alex, you had mentioned about how exciting of a topic that is, and how it may be underrated of like how people engage with it, right? Because they might have dreamt quite a bit as children, and maybe they had these conversations of like, "Hey, mom, dad, I had this friend that was doing blah blah blah," and the parents were like, "Well, I don't dream so much. You'll grow out of it and get over it," right? And it's like, wait a second, there's this connection that they may or may not be gifted with, that they cultivate, right? Because you mentioned before of being able to learn it, be able to train yourself, be able to refine it. Mm-hmm. And the very simple trick that I worked on a couple years ago that transformed how I have a relationship with dreams at all is setting the intention of when to wake up. And so if I was going to set my alarm at 9:30, I would tell myself, you know what, I'm going to wake up at 9 o'clock and 9:17. And I would check from day to day to see how close I'd wake up on time. And the feeling that I would get, no matter whatever I was doing, would be, hey, I got to go somewhere. And it became really clear to me when there was one day I was doing this woodworking project and I was like hammering, like really carving out these details. I thought to myself, I'm not a woodworker and I got to go somewhere, right? And so when you think about in gaming, you got your save point. And so then there I was like, great, let me put this project down. I'll come back to it. And then I woke up, I looked around, it's like, hey, it's 9:16. Right. And it's that in my opinion, a very simple intention or technique that one can use to really engage with those dreams. And then, of course, waking up, write anything down. Write down 1 word, 2 words, 10 words. Next thing you know, you have this incredible novel of what adventures you were on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is the best way to ever remember a dream too. Like people who are into lucid dreaming, a big part of it is being able to like recall the experiences, and you will forget it if you don't write it down. Period. Right. Like you will forget that experience, but if you write it down, it like gives you some context and like gives you like a real world equivalent of that experience to like reference. And I've written dreams down and never reread it, but still remember what I wrote, so that's like a really important tool. But I am just like still kind of hung up on this idea of like dreams being mostly human experiences, if indeed that is like the way, if that is like free of the prison, right? Because like you're doing a woodworking project, like what a human thing to do, like you know what I mean? And like if I'm able to go lucid, which I'm not very good at, I wish I was better at it, but I'm not. But like there's been a couple times where I have gone lucid and I've maintained control and realized, yes, I've got this, I'm here and I'm doing this thing. And a lot of times I'm engaging in like human stuff, like carnal pleasures and things like that, and it's like that's such a superficial way to experience the divine, the infinite, or is it, like what are your thoughts about that?
So and that's where even double checking to see if you actually had hands, right? And so that's where with the woodworking I was like, I'm not a woodworker, yet somehow I don't see the hands that are supposedly doing this woodworking as if I'm thinking about it, of like, I want to create this, I want to carve this, I want to make this. Because in my opinion, I think that we're all souls here to have a human experience. And when you look beyond the physical realm and look into what that energy means, it changes how you interact with physical reality on a daily basis, right? And so this is where in having the human experience, you just happen to be here for a blip. And then you're like, hey, I want to know everything about what it's like to be human. And even if the dreams are connected in that manner, right? It's like, cool, look at it, double check. Do you have hands with what you're doing? Do you actually have that body? Because I would talk and engage with people and I would recognize them not because of their face. I would recognize them because of their energy signature. Yeah. Of like, got it. That's so-and-so. There is no body there. And I could sense or feel them as if they were there with me. Totally. And it wasn't a physical experience.
Or sometimes those people who you can feel and you can recognize, they like change forms throughout a dream experience. Like it'll look like my wife at first, but then it'll change into someone completely different, but they're still my wife, like I'm still identifying them as that.
Yeah, because that's the part where, especially when people have had individuals move on, and when I say individuals, I'm talking about humans and or pets as well. right? Because specifically pets where cats might be the spiritual protector, dogs being a more physical protector, those three different types of entities, I asked them, this person has moved on. Would you recognize them if you saw them in your dreams again? And if I was expecting to see someone exactly like Skiva, and it's like, nope, I don't see him. And here's this guy in the back, and he's waving, and it's like, hey, Tino, it's me, right? I chose not to recognize him because I was looking for the human body and not the energy, right? And so as people started peering into that, they would recognize that their family members, their pets, their whatever came back to them time and time again in very different forms.
Beautiful. So I'm loving this. Just to say really quick, I am loving this. And I hope everybody who's listening right now is too. But I'm sure there's at least a few people right now who are listening to this VR podcast wondering, what the hell does this have to do with VR? Everything. Can you elaborate on that and then maybe use this as an opportunity to introduce us to BasedXR?
Of course. So for virtual reality, it would be something that is outside of you physically, right? And especially going to VR, AR, and XR, those three were things that I had to learn the difference. And so with VR, I remember very beginning slapping it on, eyes disconnected. It is one thing for myself. If I ever do any recording of content, I would show an over-the-shoulder view instead of this one, because we're talking right now, I've disconnected me from you by blocking my eyes, right? Seeing AR, you got your glasses on, and there was once I was showing this to someone, and I handed him a bowl of chips and guac, and he was telling me, oh my goodness, VR is amazing. And I handed him this bowl. It's like, I don't think you could have grabbed this bowl of chips and dip. Had it, enjoyed it without the AR glasses, right? And so with AR, I see that people can project experiences into you. And they can convince you of whatever reality it is. They can convince you of realities that do not exist. And then they can also convince you of something that you are not, right? And for you both and for everyone in the audience, I'd love to share with you that you are eternal, you are divine, and you have incredible abilities, right? Do not ever forget that again, no matter wherever you go in your walk of life. And then I came across XR, right? And it was something where as I was thinking about the name of my company, I was trying to figure out something that would have an overlap that made sense. And I didn't like so much the AR or the VR. And then when I looked at XR, I thought it looked pretty sleek. And XR standing for extended reality. That extended reality is truly everything beyond you, right? And we've been in extended reality our entire lives, whether we know it or not. It could be interchangeable for simulation or matrix. And for someone that wants to double check, look at anything around you and ask yourself, did you truly choose to buy that, acquire that yourself? Or did someone else project it into you? And if you've ever read a review, that is someone else's reality projected into you, right? And so that's something where with specific XR, how I attached based XR to it. Based is a word that defines someone being comfortable about being themselves, right? And in such a journey, it's one where I want to encourage people to try out the medium, to build things that are exciting for themselves. The tagline that I use is awaken to your reality, where it is an encouragement to think considerably far beyond the physical realm that you may think you're only confined to. And so this has been an incredible journey, meeting people. I usually host a TikTok live nightly sessions where we'll touch upon all sorts of different topics across the board. And it's all about waking people up to truly the infinite, incredible beings that they are.
So in what ways is BasedXR making this happen? Like, what kinds of experiences are you making that you think can potentially wake people up?
So usually the TikTok live sessions, we're usually on 3 to 5 hours a night, and we'll talk about all sorts of different topics where people can come on in and share their insights. I've been using Spatial as well as a place to showcase Unity development skills of building different worlds. One of the big projects that I'm working on is building a way to create a dream world that people, when they enter it, they recognize that is the theme of, like, I'm going to talk about dreams, and I feel comfortable that someone's not going to judge me about the adventures or stories that I have. Because for me personally, I want to welcome those conversations because I'm all learning, thinking, all right, cool, that technique works for you. I'd love to see what kind of adventures that I can go on as well, right? In specifically Neos VR, that has been the time of my life for building. It's been so creative, so amazing. What I focused on there is actually Shape of the Earth. So Shape of the Earth topics, it's one thing where when you recognize the physical reality that you've been convinced that you live on does not exist, you might start to wonder why it matters. And the very simple answer that I tell people about why Shape of the Earth matters is because what you think about yourself, what you think about where you live, what you think about what you're doing is truly controlling your mind. And if you think that you are an insignificant accident, you may live life exactly like that. When you recognize how powerful you are and how everything is truly projecting into you of like, oh, Skiva, think this, Alex, think this, so-and-so, think this. You're then realize it's like, oh my goodness, they can't let me find out that I can shape this reality in a beautiful way with my words and thoughts alone. And so that's where those are the two large pillars. And then as I'm expanding into Horizons, possibly VR Chat, and Utopia VR, it's about bringing people together who enjoy them, specifically the medium of VR and AR, where they can have conversations, because as each person realizes how powerful, how beautiful they are, right, they will continue to manifest and shape the reality the way that they want to, and it creates something exceptional.
So you have these sessions that people can go into and they can learn about this stuff. How does someone participate in something like this?
So usually for spatial, I have a series called Tethered to Reality. It's at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Pacific on Wednesdays. And usually we'll be in there, myself and my co-host Emily will be in there for about an hour, hour and a half, so that people can engage in conversations about things that they've questioned about this current reality, right? And it has opened up so many different connections. Usually that results in them joining us on TikTok. And usually in TikTok, I'll host 6-person live conversations, and guests come in and out. They'll share their perspective, they'll share their insights. I've learned a significant amount about dreaming through those individuals alone. And so it is about continuing that conversation and growing a community where people can engage, they can hop on Discord, they can have a chat and grow for themselves.
So I'm curious, like, what happened in your life that like opened you up to all of this, you know, because I think that this is something that is really hard for people to wrap their head around just by like me just like saying it at you, you know, like I could tell you these things until I'm blue in the face, but like there's no guarantee that it's going to land. So what happened in your life that like A, made you kind of come to some of these conclusions, and then B, inspire you to try to like spread the gospel?
Right. So, and I appreciate the way that you asked that question. So for many years, I felt like I'm going to follow this path that seemingly gets me to where I want to be, where I could share, learn, and communicate with people. And as I was going through that path, I was like, great, I'm going to learn development. I was teaching people how to ski. I was teaching people how to backpack, right? The backpacking thing really opened things up, because when you go backpacking for 3 to 5 days, you experience true quiet and solitude that many people do not experience for days on end, or weeks or years on end. And then once you truly disconnect and you come back out, you realize it's like, oh my goodness, this reality keeps on moving with or without you. You need to have the will to disconnect and reset your own life, right? And in being able to do that, since 2012 or so, I made it a consistent habit to go out to nature, to revisit, disconnect, and then make sure that I'm very in tune with myself, right? And so as I started paying attention to what was going on, either through the news or through other people's realities, I started wondering, it's like, wait a second, we don't even live the same realities right here. of the three individuals, right? And then as I started engaging with others, I wanted to find out, it's like, hey, what do you believe about your own reality? And then you could see that some people's realities are literally by the textbook of like, here's my script of exactly what life needs to be. And if life wasn't that way, that'd be kind of problematic, right? And so this is something where my educational background is anthropology and physics, a very unusual combination, particularly from anthropology to physics. And so as I went into physics, I felt very grounded to the physical world only. Nothing from source, nothing beyond that. And I surrounded myself with individuals that were only grounded to this physical reality. And each time I knew there was something different, right? There was something off. There was something about this reality that someone wasn't telling me something about. And if I kept looking in the same circles, they would keep telling me the same thing of like, this is what Google tells you it is. This is what all this technology tells you that this is it for its reality. So the monumental experience actually was driving across country from Southern California to Washington, D.C. for January 6th. That 10-day round trip was one where I thought I needed to go see if any of this that I hear on TV is actually real or not. And I drove by myself. I went across, and I had a lot of time to think, a lot of time to reflect on what I wanted in life and whatnot. So I get over there, and what I can tell you, and I've told many people, is that the reality individuals experience from TV is completely different from what I actually experienced when I was there. And that day, by the end of that day, I realized, I was like, oh my God, I now live a different reality than everyone else that was not actually there. And so on that return, it was a good 5-day drive back. On that return, I had some serious soul searching of realizing that I now live in a different projected reality. I engage with people in a very different way. I started looking deeper into what else is beyond the physical realm, right? And so that as I continue that journey, it's been a beautiful one. It's been, in my own opinion, an unlearning journey. And the big thing is that it's actually brought me to questioning the shape of the earth. And from the physics perspective to question that, what I recognized was, oh goodness, the reality we've been presented might not be what it actually is. And I always tell people, do not believe a single word I say. Question it all, and you might find something beautiful about yourself. Not about me. It's like, I could care less if you're asking me these things. It's like, go search for yourself, and I think people will find something incredible.
So Steve and I are both definitely believers in the notion that you can manifest your own reality, that you can alter the course of the experience that you're having, and then you can blink and there you are, and you're in the new spot, But not everybody is as willing to kind of engage and start to practice this, Well, Franz is dropping some pretty cool things in chat right now that I kind of want to bring just a little bit of attention to. So the first thing is that he said yeah, screw gravity, I'm just going to think it away. That's a pretty good, I guess, argument against this kind of thing that we're talking about. It doesn't matter who you are, gravity's gravity, period, right? But then he also later says public opinion is really important to reality and what we all agree on. Changing that requires changing people's minds en masse, and it happens, it just takes a lot. So the questions are, what do you say to people who are skeptical and say, well, I can't just think away gravity, how could this be real? And then B, is collective consciousness important, or is that a big part of changing the experience that we're all having?
And which is wonderful two questions. In the first one, what I encourage people to do is truly think carefully about the words that you use. If someone says, I can't think this away, I will tell you, I believe you, right? Because that person is telling me that they cannot do it. They are correct, right? And so this is where, in such a journey, if they want to change their reality, change the words, and you will open up so many doors that are stunning. The second part, especially with the collective consciousness, there's a part of me that has been wondering about that, of if it is all connected, then why in the world do so many of us have to go through similar experiences? Couldn't let's say Skiva decides to go through heartbreak. You got a loss of a family member. I'll go through losing limbs or something, and then cool, we'll meet up afterwards, and we got all the experiences, right? I think that for collective consciousness, that might exist in soul tribes or soul families, meaning that there are many tribes and families that are here, where you will cross paths with some of these people that are in your group for maybe a minute, a lifetime, 10 days. You cross paths with them so that they tell you, hey, what's up? I'm in this realm, this adventure with you. We'll catch up in the next one, right? And so collective consciousness, I think it is at a much smaller scale than all the humans combined.
Interesting. So like there can be like communities of collective consciousnesses that are experiencing different realities simultaneously in the same place.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Because there's been a lot of times where I've thought to myself, like, collective consciousness is a global thing, right? Like we could like literally like become telepathic with each other if 51% of us agreed that we could. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I think it might take more than 51%, but that's why it's so important for all of these major tech companies, for the few that own all of the news channels, for all of these people to be able to control narrative, control people's perception, because otherwise what would happen? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very important to keep us in our asleep state so we can be controlled, and power can be maintained. So yeah, you can't just wake up the world by telling someone something. You can tell people all the time, if you do that, this is going to happen, and they do it anyway, right? People need to fall on their own face in order for things to like really, really sink in. You know, we all try to teach our kids what happens when you do this. If you act this way, you might be perceived in this way, or this thing might happen that might be not good, but the kids do it anyway, because we all need to live our own thing, and you have to be convinced of everything yourself. And it's a really hard thing when all the forces are against you, because the people with the money and the power want to control the reality you're in so they can benefit from it.
So this is all information, and this is all perspective that I believe is like resting latently in all of us. You know, like I think that we all do have the capacity to like understand this and wrap our heads around it and become dreamers and like weavers of reality. But there, like to Skiva's point, there's a lot of like roadblocks and stuff in the way that kind of prevent this from happening for a lot of people. Some people live their entire lives and never have a thought like this, you know, which is crazy for me. But I personally credit my hallucinogenic experiences for coming to these realizations. Like I just like had, you know, drop some hallucinogenics, and then an hour later I'm like just like peeling away the layers. I'm like, oh my God, like they're like, man, like this is when like stuff like the Illuminati actually kind of started to sound legit to me, because I'm like, how could you be human and be okay with not letting your other humans participate in this? Like, how could you be human and not and be controlling people's perception of reality to the point where it's like all just for like greed? It's almost like parasitic in a lot of ways. But ultimately, I do credit those experiences for this. And then you know, later I got into martial arts and got into like meditation and qigong and all that stuff, and that kind of became a way for me to like work the muscle without having to drop a hit of acid and trip balls for 6 hours. But getting into VR, a big perspective of mine, and something that I share regularly, is that like if you were to ask me what's the number one potential of this technology, I would say it would be a replacement for those hallucinogenic experiences or those years of spiritual suffering, basically. Like if you could put on a headset and in 10 minutes have your reality completely rocked and shifted, like maybe we could like wake people up without having to do drugs, without having to sacrifice my life to a lifestyle of spiritual practice. You know what I mean? And it kind of sounds like you are thinking the same thing. Like with BasedXR, like do you really think that this technology can be used as a tool for like spiritual awakening and enlightening? And how far away are we from being able to put on a headset and actually make that impact?
I'm definitely thinking along that lines, and when you think about even putting on a headset, you now have immersed them in a could be visually stunning environment, and an environment where the auditory senses may really be adapted to or enhanced, right? And because as Keith had mentioned, even about the news or whichever mainstream narrative, that's on a flat screen, and people believe realities that might not exist. Now, when you're completely immersed one, some people might stay in it for a little bit longer, and they're like, wait a second, how is this so beautiful? What can be created? Can I conceive of this, think this, create this? Right? And it goes back to that question I had about imagination of, if you, with imagination, you might go through school, and school might say, well, we might unlock this imagination. It's like, no, school doesn't unlock imagination. If anything, it encourages it to remain dormant. When you put on a device like this, how do you unlock the imagination? I've watched many people, I put them in VR, I give them some type of pen or painting app, and I'll show you from the side view. As they're writing their name, they write it in a flat plane. And I tell them, you have a 3D canvas. Why are you still writing in a flat plane? Right? And then as they get used to it, you see the looks on the face of like, oh my goodness, I can make a 3D object. I can make all these things. Right? And it's unlocking those centers of the mind that may be dormant through either extracurriculars, through lifestyle, through stress, through all sorts of other things, that they can dream again, they can imagine again, and they can create something that is within themselves, and they shape reality in that way.
I love it. What do you think, Skiva?
I think this is a beautiful conversation. There's definitely between realities type of content.
Yeah,
I'm
between realities right now, baby. I am sitting right smack dab in the middle.
Yeah, I mean everything. Most of the stuff resonates with me. I've not hidden the fact that I've had many questions in life and things that I have needed to figure out and make decisions about. And one of the ways in the past when I have major decisions, and people are going to make some people might think this is nuts, but I don't, is if I can't figure out the answer, I will like take a bunch of mushrooms, for example, and I will go inside and I will get, everything will become so clear. The answer will unravel, all of reality kind of washes away, and I'm left with what it is that I needed the answer for. And
amazing.
I can't ever think of a time, and I've done this so many times, that it's ever been wrong. It's always improved my life for the better. Right. And it's because I was able to, because I found a way to remove all of the things that hindered me from seeing what was there all along. And for some it's dreaming, and for some it's spiritual practice, it's kung fu, it's whatever. All of the different parts of the world through different generations have had ways of accomplishing these things. There's the Buddhist monks, there's all of these different practices, and but the fact is that all of them are trying to unravel the reality that you've been taught in order to see what's true. And it's all there for all of us. It's just really hard to find unless you go in with the intent on seeing it.
Right. So then the second part of my question earlier is, how long until I can put on a headset and replace that experience? Like, are we getting close? Do we need more time? And what needs to happen for that to like really be effective?
I think that of the platforms that I've used, I've been surprised with the overlap that Spatial has had between browser, mobile device, VR headset, right? At this point, I do not think that the headsets may be necessary. It can be super immersive, right? The number of conversations I've had with people where they're like, hey, I love the energy, the vibes, I'm here on my phone, right? The headset becomes a barrier to access. For the world that I create, Earth by BasedXR and Neos, the barrier is you need to have PC and or PC VR, right? Because the PC VR, like being able to have hands in a Neos world, is a barrier to access. People can still come together, communicate, share the ideas, listen to each other, and change realities without needing the beautiful visual, stunning additions. And that's where I think that looking at reality again, a lot of this is actually told to you in plain sight, particularly through the movies, through the TV shows, of how reality is nothing like what they try to convince you that it is. And so I think it's already here. VR is a nice cherry on top of like, cool, I can be immersed completely blocked out here. I think that the way that they have the visuals set up on your phone, on your web browser, all these things, it's already here.
But is it a cherry on top, or can it expedite it? Can it like make it easier, or can it make it faster, or like, you know, like what kind of weight does a VR experience carry when it comes to using this technology to like help people awaken?
I think it can expedite it because I would say the realism, for example, even with Beat Saber, right? The way that people can interact and exercise or do whatever for their reality. Because for me, for a significant portion of time in the mornings, I would have a 12 rounds of boxing to work out. I'm not a boxer. And then once I got the haptic suit, I was like, man, I was way better without getting all these punches, right? And so it's one of those things where you can see people shifting and changing their physical body to say, I'm open to this training or this thinking or whatever it is, because it is a medium or tool that can enhance my day-to-day. And so that's where I think it can accelerate it.
Well, I've really been loving this, and we're going to start to wrap it up, but I do want to ask just once more, or I guess for the first time, or one final question. I don't know. I can barely speak anymore. But what's really important about this that we haven't gotten to yet, right? Like there must be something that we haven't had a chance to touch on that you want to make sure that we do before we wrap this thing up.
If anything, I would say that if anyone has a chance, this is a question I ask everyone regularly on my TikToks in the conversations is, have you ever questioned the shape of the earth? That question takes you on an incredible journey. Don't believe me for it. Go do it for yourself. And what you might see in your day-to-day conversations is how people respond to you, how your training, your system kicks in. And it's okay to stop there. Do it at your own pace and your own time. And when you find that where you live might be somewhere else, it may be a beautiful realization, because if individuals can convince you of where you live, they can sell you anything in this reality.
I mean, are you saying you're a flat earther? You know what I mean? Like,
for sure. That is the world in Neos.
I've seen that flat earth world in Neos, and it's actually really beautiful.
It right away.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? Oh my God. See, I'd go a step further and say, and I think you touched on this earlier, is flat, round, diamond, it doesn't really exist anyway. So what does it matter? And I think you actually said, what does it matter?
Well, yeah, because this is an important distinction, because I don't want to lose anybody here, right? Like, because someone could hear that and be like, flat earther, and just like write it off, right? But that's not what you're getting at, right?
Right. Because it is the ability to question it. Because this is why I brought up the physics background before, of teaching people the geocentric or the heliocentric model, teaching them all about those numbers, doing the research and whatnot. Like, I know how good that training is. I did it myself, front and center in the classroom. And when I ask people the question of, have you ever questioned? You see that many times people say no. And they come back 3 months later, it's like, damn it, I look at this world all over again because I started questioning of where I live. Mm-hmm. And when you realize something about that, it's an internal journey. It's not like, don't go on the journey for me, I could care less, right? Like, go on the journey for yourself of questioning what you truly know in this reality and how much of it is dependent on what someone else says that reality is.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, just to clear this up once and for all, like, are the people who are online who are like claiming that the earth is flat, have they stopped questioning it? Like, are they like now stuck in a perception and like haven't gotten over the finish line? Are they going a little crazy, or do you think that they're onto something?
They I would say that they are unlearning a significant portion of their own reality, not only the Earth, they're unlearning history, they're unlearning their pharmaceuticals, many different industries of what they believe that they live in. And I would say there's quite a bit to revisit. And in my opinion, in such a journey, you'll find something incredibly beautiful about yourself.
Wow. Okay. Well, I really appreciate all of your answers for these questions and this conversation. This has been awesome, and your perspective and insight is rare, but hopefully not for long. You know, hopefully we can allow people to, I don't know, open up their minds a little bit and maybe potentially use some of the experiences that BasedXR is creating to help them get there. So let's say someone is listening right now and they're like, okay, this sounds pretty cool. I don't think I fully get it, but I want to know more. I want to be a part of this. Like, what's the best way for someone to start to get involved in the stuff that we're talking about right now?
I would say that if anything, record what you say about yourself for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and truly listen to how you speak to yourself. See if those words are actually kind to yourself. Because you may be the kindest person to the next person, to someone else, and you walk by that mirror and it's like, gosh, that guy can't do blah, blah, blah. See if you can do that and truly listen to what an individual says about themselves. And as you shift your own words, you will see that your words are so powerful of what you believe you can do, and you can change your reality by your own words. That's it.
I love it. And then if I want to participate in BasedXR, what's the path?
So we're live every night on TikTok at 10 p.m. Pacific, around 10 p.m. Pacific or so. If you have 1,000 followers, feel free to hop in the guest box for the conversation. We'll talk all sorts of different things for 3 to 5 hours. That's the most easily accessed. There's my website, BasedXR.com, that has a wide range of gear, content, the links to the current Neos headless server that you can access. Check it out over there. And then, you can also schedule with me directly through there. And so it's be amazing to partner on a wide range of AR, VR, and XR collaborations.
There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Tino Truong from BasedXR. Thank you so much for being on the show. This is a true Between Realities episode, and I loved it. And we really appreciate your time and your perspective, man. Thank you for joining us.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Right. And with that, we're going to say goodbye to Tino.
See you, Tino.
Bye, Tino. Later,
Bye-bye.
bro. Wow. Man, I need to go sit,
sit and meditate.
Just think. Soak some stuff up, clear the mind, come back to it, hit the reset button a couple times.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack there.
There is. And I love these conversations because whether this subject hits home with people or not, I think it's really important to understand that VR and XR is not just for gaming. I was on a podcast last night that is all about flat gaming, and they wanted to know about VR and stuff. But, one of the things that we really dove into was that this isn't just for gaming. This can change your life in so many different ways, whether it be spiritually, whether it be professionally. There's so many things that XR can change in the world, and it's it's just not. It's not all about gaming, even though I love games, and we talk about them probably more than anything else.
Yeah,
this technology is so profound, and I love that it's starting to open people's minds that maybe weren't open before. People are putting on a headset and having these epiphanies, and starting to question things, and wow, if this is so real, what about this? What's happening here? This is amazing, and I love doing this podcast, and I love having guests like this.
Same.
And thank you to everyone here that stuck with us through this episode and hung out, and hope you enjoyed it. Because I did.
I know I did. Yeah, we've said this before. We really appreciate and love everyone who listens in and participates in this. But at the end of the day, we're making the show that we want to be on. You know, that's all there is to it. And frankly, there is a reason to have these conversations on a VR podcast. And I hope that if you've listened to this one, that you can see what that is. And if not, I'm willing to bet that one day you will. Like the R in AR and VR is not to be taken lightly. It's a big deal. We're recreating reality just by putting on a headset, and the way that this is going to change our lives and manifest in the future is frankly unpredictable. Like, I mean, it's going, I don't even know what it's going to look like or how it's going to happen, but I'm pretty sure we're on the cusp of something really, really big, really profound. And it's a pleasure and an honor to be doing it with you all. And you too, Skiva.
You too, buddy.
Yeah. So thank you all so much for watching the Between Realities VR podcast today. Had great chat. Great comments in the chat section today from Wolfraza and D1360 VR and Michelle B, Snow Toad, Arcanian, Virtual Steve, Fabster, who snuck up in here, Red/Ace and Hussein X, J-Brat snuck in here near the end there. 321 Hokage actually got a little bit of this at the end. So thanks for coming in and allowing yourself to have your alarm set off, because this conversation is not one that happens all the time, but we try to do it as often as we can. James got in here also, and Sterling Youngman was like, "Oh, this isn't the normal episode." That's true. Dan Kitty VR was also here, and of course, Classy Grandma being the first in the chat with the super chat also earlier. Thank you. And Virtual Steve and Space Denizen and Awesome Tatum too.
What a great community that we have here in the chat. This is just so great. I'm just so happy all these people come and share this with us every week. You know, this is great. And next week we'll have a special guest on. You know, you might know this guy, you might not. He's one of my absolute best friends in the whole world. Tribe Grey Wolf will be here along with his wonderful wife, Jordy, and I'm really excited to talk to them. There's so many things happening with Tribe and his TikToks and like things happening in video games right now with cheating and like exploits and this and that, and Tribe is kind of like right on the forefront of this stuff right now. It'll be very interesting conversations to have, as well as probably more Neos conversation, because me and Tribe spend a lot of time in Neos, and it's a wonderful thing. But Tribe is an amazing dude, and I'm excited for you all to get to know him a little bit better, because he's doing great things. He is a sweetheart. He and Jordy are both amazing. Yep. I can't wait to have them on. So that'll be next week. Yep. Roy Boy, goodbye. Laszlo 216 from Cleveland, goodbye. Adios. And the rest of you, goodbye. Thanks again for listening or watching or being on uploadvr.com and catching the episode there, or maybe the audio versions on Audible. Audible? Yeah, no, I know it's not. We're going to get on Audible. One day. iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Podcasts. It's all the things. We're if everywhere. There's a podcast thing, just search Between Realities. And if we're I'm not sure you'll on find it, you let us know and we'll get on it. Yeah. That's why I want to be on Audible. And shout out real quick to another wonderful podcast about VR. Rough Talk VR. Love these guys. Thanks for sending me a shirt. This is shirt. Awesome. I'm going to be wearing that on a future episode also. ePilot007, thanks again for being here as well. Thank you all again. Have a great weekend. Hit us up if you're trying to get in some games in our Discord server below. You can join it, become a part of that. Like and subscribe. See you next week with Tribe Grey Wolf. Adios, peoples. Bye-bye.